So this is a text I got from my client last week. He wasn't happy. He was stressed because we accidentally booked 26 qualified meetings in 29 days. We didn't fill his pipeline. We actually broke his sales team because he only had one guy to handle sales. Now, let's be clear. That's not normal. I never expected this myself. And my client wasn't really a rookie. So they were brilliant data architects. They were selling high-end branding services to Malaysian pharmaceutical companies, tier 1 companies, I would say. And they knew exactly who to target, and they already had their product market fit, and they were making almost, I would say, 6 figures a year just from their branding service. But they were making fundamental mistake when they decided to enter Malaysia. You see, they were doing really great in Singapore, in the UK, in Australia. But when they came all the way here, they were selling vitamins in a market that only buys insurers. See, the thing is, they were emailing pharma directors, GMs, and pitching better designs. But in Malaysia, wealth was never built this way. Better is not enough. You cannot just convince anybody with better. That's not how it's gonna work. It's built on certainty. Tycoons like Robert Cook didn't get rich selling luxury. He got rich selling supply security during a crisis. Now, my client was offering optimization. The market didn't care. They wanted safety from risk. So we fixed it for them. We moved from their main channel that they were relying on, which was cold emails. That was widely successful for them in the UK, in the US, slightly in Australia, but it was horrible and it was a mess in Malaysia. So we completely abolished it. We went to social selling via LinkedIn and then transitioned to WhatsApp using consent strategy that is compliant with the local laws and regulations. We stopped selling branding. We started selling compliance defense. So we sent simple charts proving that bad branding was costing them shelf space. We gave them internal champion ammo to show their balls. That's exactly what we did with their clients. We didn't spam. We sent reason to panic and a solution to fix it. So that's exactly our playbook for them. And they were panicking because we are making their potential prospect panic. But that's exactly how you sell in Malaysia. If you don't show the risk and make it clear in exactly 5 seconds, then what are you gonna sell? Better designs? Better, beautiful, fancy looking, luxurious branding flow? Of course not. And that's exactly where it hit. And that's why we accidentally landed this crazy amount of meetings. 60% of them came via LinkedIn channels, 40% came via switching from LinkedIn to WhatsApp as a last attribute. And you know what? Most consultants are terrified of selling on social channels, especially WhatsApp. They think it's very intrusive. Well, apparently if you did it wrong, yes, you would be. In fact, you will be blocked, spammed, and Meta will restrict your account. But if you understood how it works in Malaysia, you will really get a lot of good deals just from WhatsApp channels, of course, layering it with a trust channels like LinkedIn. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact steps we did for our partner or our client, Ultra Targeting, and how we managed to achieve for them that unexpected amount of meeting in a very short period of time. So first of all, we figured out that we needed to ingest data from newly registered products. That was our first signal that we focus on in our outreach. We needed a clean, reliable data that has urgency in it. Number 2 was we found their dominant competitor, which allowed us to weaponize this against this prospect. Number 3 was hybrid sourcing, which was mainly finding or mixing different databases across different channels. So we looked into Apollo, we looked into Phantom Buster, which was scraping Sales Navigator. We looked into getting the data also from Play. Number 4, we ran mobile waterfall enrichment. That was heavily used in the Clay workflow. Number 5, we created a full-scale sequencing process utilizing custom Geminis and as well as LinkedIn DM automation. And you will see that engine in that video. You will see the messaging flow. You will see how did we tailor the messaging, how did we make sure that the messaging is personalized to every single lead. why we are not fully automating everything. We are more of a hybrid approach, especially in narrow markets like Malaysia. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to be sharing exactly our step-by-step from the moment I got the data, what I did exactly in my screen sharing session. So you will be seeing every single thing we did for that specific client we had. Of course, you have the full rights to duplicate it for yourself, but that's exactly how it works for them. So how I do things is I would start on my Gemini. So I assume everyone watching this video have some sort of generative AI that is always supporting their ideation process, structuring it. And I would use Gemini Pro because it's similar, equivalent to ChatGPT, the premium version. As long as you're paying premium, you're going to get premium outputs. Now, it's always about prompting when you're doing this kind of ideation process. So now, when I was working with this branding company, they were targeting pharmaceutical companies, medical device companies, and so on. And I wanted to ideate everything. So what I would do is, this is my kind of prompting. Act as a senior GTM strategist, and the creative combination expert. You specialize in building high fidelity outbound infrastructure for niche agencies starting Malaysia. You have been hired by this company that specialized branding agency serving the blah, blah, blah. And then the list goes on. This is exactly how you structure your prompt. You have to have a role, context, objective, required outputs. So this is exactly how we would do things. And you have obviously 3 options if you're using Gemini 3. At this point, I'm doing this video by almost end of 2025, and high chance probably Gemini 4 will be next year. So if I'm doing that, most likely I'm just going to go with the thinking one. This just gives me a little bit of idea. What is a trigger, what to look at, and it gives me a little bit of context. What is the signal? So it's always a dilemma in the early stage. What the signals we should look for when we are reaching out to potential prospect on behalf of this company. So you can see these are all high intent trigger events. We can see medical device authority registration, recent filing or approval in Malaysia's MDCIS system, product expansion. That could be another one. And then the sourcing strategy, as you can see here. However, I want to focus in the early stage I want to focus on nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals, because it's too broad. Medical device and pharma is a completely different thing. And that's where I have to be very granular with my AI. So it started to tell me like, look, you would probably want to go for the MAL sequence reveal. All legal products in Malaysia must have an MAL number. A company with a pending or a recently issued MAL number for a new supplement line is a tier 1 branding prospect. Beautiful. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the main official government websites. As you can see here, npra.gov.my. This is National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency, and I would want to go, now you can see, I don't know why they have this font like that. I want to go for a section that says recently approved supplements. So you can see here, new product approved. They have a few other options, but I want to go with the new product, because here's the thing. You need to go after something that recently happened with these companies. Now, if I'm going to go and open this, it looks exactly like this, which is brilliant. I love it. My next step will be, I want to convert that PDF to Excel, as you can see here. So you can use this. I love PDF. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download that quickly, and you can see here, I'm going to upload it quickly and convert to Excel. Okay. Download it. So what's going to happen is I just want to quickly go double check on the column, check on the row, just to make sure that everything is clean and beautiful. After that, I will be importing it to my Clay workflow. So here we are. All right. So I'm going to delete this row, and I'm going to make sure that all of this is clearly formatted. I don't want anything weird. I don't think I need this at this point. When was it? So I'm going to make this in English later on. However, to give a little bit of context, this is the registration number. This is the name of the product. This is the company name, or the product holder. This is the factory name that manufactures the product. And this is a status, which is critically important in our signal. We are looking only after new product approved. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And the next step is me going to my Clay table. And I believe we already introduced Clay in the last video. So this should be easy for you to grasp. I'm going to log in. What you would need to do is you would need to create a workbook, a new workbook, and you can name it NPRA, the project name, the pharma ICP. And then what we plan to do is we're going to plan import from CSV. You need to make sure that this was saved as CSV. This is very important. So you're going to save that as CSV file over here. Voila, you already got your columns being mapped out right now in front of you on your clay table. What we're going to do next is obviously making sure it's named accurately so we can standardize our data and make sure our data is standardized. So I don't want the factory name. So this is the factory name. I will remove it as well. It's not part of our flow later on. So this one is supposed to be the company name. So I'm going to be changing that. This is a product name that recently got registered. We're going to be using this as our messaging hook. And the status, I think what we plan to do is we're going to be removing, so you can do filter on this column, that my list is focused only on new product approved. So that would be our initial step at the early stage. The second is you want to make it nice. Look at this. It's very ugly. See, the thing is how I'm going to send this message. So to give you a little bit of context, how does the message look like and how we should send it, like how we should personalize it. So this is the ending game, or this is basically how you would want your messaging to be. Hi, first name, saw email approval for product name, big fan. Or hi, first name, saw product name, got the email recently, Watson and Guardian takes blah, blah, blah. Or here, new Malaysians brand burn 40% of their ad budget. So we will discuss different angles, but this is how you basically utilize the personalization angles and how you change those variables to make it clean and make it look as if it's not automated. Now, this is just very primitive, I would say. It's not really sophisticated. So what you would need to do is you would need to clean that product name first. So you will need to create a new here, use AI. And obviously you will need to, we already discussed this last time, how to prompt to create everything for you. Luckily, I do have quick templates, quick prompts. So you also can find a lot of good templates from Clay provided here. Okay, so as I said, when you want to clean your product name, this is how you actually do it. So you will want to make sure it's usable. So it's not weird. It doesn't have these random numbers, 5,000 units, because these are all numbers we imported it from the database. So we already discussed last time on how you can actually talk to your AI here and it will create your AI workflow for you. But you can also go to browse templates. And these browse templates do have a lot of easy AI workflow. So you can see I even saved for myself over here, brand name, pharma, need normalizing, and it does give me everything. So it does ask me here, what is the product name? Where is it? So it's mapped here. This is a product name I want to normalize. This is a column and I will apply a template and I will normalize it. Now, the way you need to normalize is this is the kind of stuff you need to be careful of because it will eat all your Clay credits. And you need to, first of all, make sure you have an OpenAI API account. I think that's quite important. If not OpenAI, you have Claude. Not bad. It's also quite good. But you need to make sure what version are you using. So this one, it says 4.1 mini. I would rather go for, I think 4.1 mini would work as well. I would go with that. Never mind. That's fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save and run on 10 rows. I want to keep this as a quick example for you guys. And what's going to happen is it will quickly create a new column and this column will be standardizing the data. As you can see, automatically standardized because it doesn't make sense to somebody a long text about Ready Talks 100 mg per 10 mil concentrate. Nah, just send that. So this is going to be our new brand name normalization and I will need to hide that. So this is like what we call your engine. If you want to do the rest of the list, you can activate that. You can just simply do like this and run all rows that haven't run or have errors, which is 439. We're not going to do that, obviously. So I want to hide it because I don't want to have a messy sheet. The next step is I want to standardize the company name. It's still messy as well. What is that? So I'm going to need to standardize that. Same flow. Bam, bam, bam. Use AI. And this is the beauty of Clay, by the way. I have templates, browse templates, and I will standardize that as well. This one, I will put the company name, apply template. So we going to do the same thing here, save to rows. So if you want to know how much are you getting charged like on your OpenAI, so OpenAI account looks exactly like this. So you need to do platform.openai.com and connect your API keys to the Clay platform in order for you to process this kind of data. Otherwise, you will be charged on Clay credits. So the next step after you clean your company, brand name cleaning, you would need to find the website. Now, how do you find the website? It's a very simple process. Again, you will need to use the AI, generative AI workflow. And the way you're going to be doing it is you're going to do that. And now this is very critical because the model here will impact heavily on the outcomes. So you would need to test the cheapest model first, which is 4.1 mini or nano. Usually nano I will avoid, just stick with mini. And I will use my templates. So again, browse templates. These templates you can easily find on Clay. This is the beauty of Clay. This is a template I also did myself. And this one is going to be asking you, okay, what is the input? So the input here will be obviously company name. Now you need to be careful, right? You clean the company, but honestly speaking, I would rather go with the unclean company. So see, you can see clean company name, clear name. I would want to go with this one. Why? Because this one has an SDN BHD, which is private limited in English translation. So sometimes you get accurate results when you have that kind of raw data. And apply templates. And in this situation, I will go with 4.1. So it's recommending for you to go with 04 mini. Now this one is quite expensive. I would say it's about 5 times the price. So this is the reason why I will go with 4.1 mini first. Nano is designed for something on the sheet itself. It's very cheap. So I will go with 4.1 mini and see how that works out. Again, I'm using my account. You don't have to use, if you don't want to do your API, you can just directly use Clay credits. However, 10 times more expensive. It's quite insane. So I would advise you just to have an API connected. Now, I just need to make sure that my prompt is correct. All good, nothing is broken. I will say save and I will run for 10 rows. Now, this is a critical step. Look, if you could not get the website of the company, we might have a problem in the future of enriching the people in that company. So this is where things can fall apart. If you didn't do this correctly and you didn't try again with different models and you just simply give up on the first 10 results, it's like, oh, it's not working, you're gonna have a problem moving forward. So this is one of the most critical steps, and you can see it's getting us real results. I'm getting the results here: AstraZeneca, Swissy.com.my, Blackmores, beautiful. Okay, we are on track. We're getting a lot of good results here. Now, the next step is I want to know what is the company size. See, the thing is, if I am talking to 50 employee company, it's a completely different thing than if I'm talking to 1,000 employee company. Completely different game. So far, I can see results are really good. The next step is me going and finding the company size. So how I find the company size? Same exact process. You're gonna use the AI, right side, right column, add new column, use AI, go find templates, or you create the prompt yourself. It doesn't really matter. We did this in the previous course, so I don't have to re-explain this at this point. As you can see here, finding company size. Now, this one has 3 variables: the company name, the official URL, the brand name, okay? As you can see, because we need to make sure that this is accurate data. So what I'm going to do is the company name. I'm not going to put the clean company name. As I told you, I would prefer to go with the raw data first. The clean one, I usually use it for messaging. The website is the website we just generated right now, which is over here. I think for product name, I would use a clean one because the long one is just irrelevant. And apply template. And for the model, I will still go with 4.1. Again, I don't want to use Nano. Nano is horrible for research. So you need to use the weakest model would be 4.1 mini. It's the cheapest that gets the job done. Go for that for a bit. If it didn't work for you, you need to upgrade the model. As simple as that. This is exactly how it works. Save and then save and run for 10 rows. Now, this is exactly how I will aggregate my data so I can strategize when I want to segment later. Because you see, after this, now I know which company is a small company, which company is a big company. Big companies, it doesn't make sense to talk to the CEO of a company that has 10,000 employees. It's just insane. So I would definitely, in that case, would talk to a brand manager or a marketing manager rather than a CEO of a 10,000 plus employee company. That's exactly how it works in a nutshell. So as you can see, it starts to aggregate the data and it says to us company size source. So I know that the data is not hallucinating. 51 to 200. This is 200. This is, I don't know why 200 plus. Probably I need to check why the prompt is giving me 200 plus. Why not more than that? Like, why not giving me a better range? But this is exactly what you're looking at the moment being. So far, this is what we call company enriching stage. You are enriching the companies you're focused on, and that's basically it in a nutshell. Now, what are the next steps? You would want to identify the competitor of these companies, because look, they are definitely eyeing a specific market share, or they already have something in the back end. They're already eyeing 5 or 6 different competitors. and you need to speak their language. So how I would do this, I would also create another column again, and here I will again use AI, and then I will go and tell the AI to identify their competitors. So again, I do have that a template. As you can see, find prospect competitors, click here, and it will ask you so many things. So you can see product name, of course, we have that. The company name, I will give the raw one. Category, I think we already have that. A brand name, I think that's not important. I don't know why it's asking for it, but it's okay. I'll just put it there. This is very important. Mention official URL. Sure, we're asking it 2 times. I think all good. I don't know why it's asking it 2 times. Maybe something wrong with this prompt, needs cleaning. But anyway, we'll apply the template. It's still gonna give us results. And as you see how fast it is, how convenient it is, how efficient it is. Like this already replaced an analyst immediately within less than, it took me now, I think almost about 20 minutes or 10 minutes to get clean, beautiful data immediately in one sheet. And I have been enriching it in a very beautiful way. I will save that. I will run all and then done. So now I'm even getting their competitors. Again, it must be factual. It must be correct. I don't want to hallucinate because I'm using their competitor as a wedge in my conversation. It gives them an indication that I did my homework. Now, what I'm going to do next, this is the exciting part. In this demo, I sampled only 10 companies because I want to show you how exactly the flow works. Now, the beauty about Clay is that they already have almost about 300 million people listed in their own database, and you can take it for free. Before that, I want to make sure that I only want to enrich those 10 companies, the sample. So in this case, I will add filter. I will just use one of the filters here, maybe company size, and is not empty. So I can just focus on the data we're working at the moment being. Okay, so I have 10 companies I'm working on. And first of all, you can see the competitor is still working its way, but it's now you can see slightly pricier. It's 0.01. It takes a little bit of money because it is really exhausting, but it did identify about 4 competitors. So what I would do is, this is a way to do it. I did discuss this last time, is that you can create a column based on the data that has been aggregated. So you can add column here, you can create column competitor name. So what's going to happen is it will automatically aggregate the data that has been created in that engine. So consider this your column engine, and this is the output. So these are their competitors. Let's say I'm speaking to Blackmores or AstraZeneca. I'm sure that the head of department or the head of marketing, they know that Swiss is against them, Sanofi is against them, or their competitors, Nano Singapore, Probiotic is their competitor, and so on. By the way, these are their competitor based on the brand that has been released and approved on the public website. So this is exactly how it works in a nutshell. Now, going to the next step that I promised you, which is I want to find people. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the main table. So this is a table. So again, going back here, this is your workflow. Okay, you can rename your table if you like. So if let's say I want to rename that table to become May10 Dermo Company table. Okay, and then in here, since I'm adding people, when I say find people, I can tell Clay, look, do not get me random people. You can see about 229 million people in their database alone. I'm sorry, I don't want that. But be careful, Clay does not give you a lot of data, and that's where it gets tricky for your market in Malaysia. But we're still gonna use it. So we're gonna say Clay table of company. I'm gonna tell him like, look, I just wanna focus on this, the select table. And then I'm gonna also let Clay know I wanna focus only on Malaysia because I see 82,000 employees, no thank you. I just wanna focus on Malaysia, please. And in fact, not just Malaysia, I want to focus on a specific job title because I'm getting only 651. I think that's too broad. I want to focus on, so let me open the job titles. I want to focus on someone in the brands. We can just say job title similar to, so you can put here, branding, brand manager, that's fine. Marketing, anybody marketing would do for me as long as they're a senior. I would say also probably business development, because look, if it's also a small company, probably I want the owner, a
probably want the general manager, which they can be GMs or general manager of the company. So yeah, that's what we're looking at the moment. So far we got 38 results from 10 companies. So not bad. I think we're on track. So you can see all the company names we found earlier, Blackmore's, AstraZeneca, whatever it is. We're gonna get this information, and what we're gonna do next is import to new table, and it will automatically import for you the data and aggregate it automatically for you and not for you as well. Okay, so far so good. The beauty about this why Clay is amazing is because this one is already mapped out for you. So for example, let's say we decided to add a new column. We found this is all columns from the companies here. So for example, if let's say I decided to add a new column and enrich like one of the companies, for example, I want to enrich the date of registration. I want to add more competitors. I want to add, it will automatically reflect on the find people table, and I can manually add it here. So to give a little bit of context, this is a find people table. So I will call this, let me rename it. Let me call it the people table. Okay, beautiful. So we have 48 people now, 38 people now. Honestly speaking, that's not really enough. And I think it's not the best, I would say, from my point of view, especially in a narrow market like Malaysia. To give a little bit of context, if we reached 100 prospects, multi-channels, which is LinkedIn plus WhatsApp, we're looking into one meeting. Now, the problem is if I'm reaching out to them via LinkedIn, usually the acceptance rate in Malaysia is about 25%, and that's not enough. So in order for me to reach 100 people, I need about 400 people. So this is exactly how you need to have a grasp on your metrics. So what we do is, so far the data looks beautiful. I need to, first of all, add some of the missing elements here, which is the company size. I don't know why it's not here, so I'll add it. I'll create column. I'm going to call it company size. And then I will also add the MAL number. I might need it for my personalization. I'm going to call it NAL. This is the number of the supplements. And then I would probably want to add their competitors. So their competitor name, add a column. So this is how you aggregate the data. It's automatic. I don't need to copy paste things. It's automated in front of my eyes. I don't have to think so much. Now the next step is I want to maximize my TAM coverage. And the next step is you will need to, let's say these are the companies that you qualified. They are the right fit companies for your clients, which they are. I would do action and I would export them. Now look, usually you should not do that. It's just because it depends on the plan of Clay. So if you're on a starter plan, you don't need to export, but I need to because I would want to upload them manually on Sales Navigator. So at the end of the day, Sales Navigator has about 3 times more coverage than Clay database. I have done thousands of tests and I have seen Clay has been always underperforming in terms of database compared to Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. So therefore, you cannot just simply accept 38 people and say, yep, all good. Nope, nothing is good. And I will show you in a bit and a very easy test for you to see. So let's go to Sales Navigator quickly. I just don't want to double check. Okay, so what we will be doing is you will need to go to your accounts. Again, you need to subscribe to Sales Navigator Pro version. It's going to cost you about $150 a month. It's worth it. It's non-negotiable actually. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to upload the data here. So Sales Navigator gives you fresh data. This data is incredibly like goldmine, I would say. And now so account name is basically the company name. I would want to put the clean one here because you'll know a bit later. And then website URL, Malaysian official URL. Just want to double check Malaysian official URL. Is it matching the same one here? This is when you need to be careful about your naming of your column. That's why sometimes you need to hide it. That's the reason. So you have, okay, this is your engine and this is your column base. All right, never mind. So it's called URL. So I should have hidden this when I exported it, but never mind. Let's go back. So what usually happens is LinkedIn is aggregating the data real time. Now, again, LinkedIn Sales Navigator data is incredibly fresh. So the next step you will be doing is you're going to go to the lead section and you would do lead filters. Now, it's exact filters, but you will be mind blown on the difference in terms of quality of data and how much data you can get. So as you can see, we put 10 demo accounts. So let's see 10 demo companies include. And then what usually happens is you will want to discuss we discussed already, we want to focus on Malaysia. So the geography will be Malaysia. And this is basically the people in Malaysia. So there's a difference between geography here, personal, and there is company headquarters. Company headquarters does really matter because at this point we're looking for people who are based in Malaysia. Okay, as you can see, I already put 10 demo companies, but in Malaysia, I got about 1,000 people. So the question is, what kind of departments I'm after? So probably I'm after business development, I'm after sales, I'm after marketing. I'm also after general managers if possible. Where are these guys? If it's a small company, I'm after the general managers. So you can see, first of all, I'm getting 584. So sales, business development, marketing is getting me 584 people compared to Clay, which got you 38 people. So you can see how insane this is. Now, of course, don't get too excited. So we need to remove the entry level. They're not the decision maker. They're gonna waste our time. We need to remove, I would also want to remove entry level managers. So it's always fixed on removing, not adding. I think that's very important. Anybody who is an intern, I want to remove him. So I will add this one. Intern. I don't want to be accidentally talking to an intern. It's going to be incredibly waste of time. So I have total 389. That's a very beautiful list. So what are the next steps? What should we do next? What is the strategy? All right. So I'm going to go and take this list. I'm going to go to somewhere. Is a tool called Phantom Buster. Is a tool that helps a lot of scraping, but it mainly have powerful workflows for LinkedIn automation, reaching out, scraping data from LinkedIn and so on. So let me quickly show you what we could do with it. So let's just say I want to, first of all, what you need to do is you go to solutions, you go to Sales Navigator, and then after that, you would need to go to Sales Navigator Search Expert. Use now. Usually happens is it will be, you give the link. So this link is the one we found over here in Sales Navigator. You give it over here. Save, select which account you plan to use. So it's going to be my account. I can use many accounts if I wanted to, but that's not the case right now. Save, and it tells you what is the total amount. That's okay. Just go with the default setting and it will create for you. So here it will be telling you what do you want. Do you want to scrape the data? So yes, I want to scrape it. So what usually happens is you just make it, of course, you need to make sure you are launching it and go back to dashboard. So let it happen. So let it flow. I'm going to be changing that name to, let's rename it to demo accounts and PRA. Okay, so I will get back to this in a bit. So it's gonna take its sweet time to scrape the data for you. No, that's not it. Let me change this one. Okay, so delete the previous video, focus on this one. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for it. So it says here it's gonna take about 25 minutes. That's quite a lot. So I just want to make sure you guys name everything correctly. So you need to make sure everything is renamed. So this 10 demo counts. So while this is brewing, we will go quickly back to what we're doing, which is going back to our clay table. So our clay table needs to be enriched. So I'm going to share with you how do you enrich it while you're waiting for your Phantom Buster to scrape a lot of 500 plus leads or 300 plus leads for you. So the next step is when you are doing this, you need to consider going for something what we call, so you need to add enrichment, and this is what we call mobile enrichment, as you can see here. Now, this is something you need to pay attention to. First of all, in Malaysia, if you reach out to somebody out of the blues on WhatsApp, you're going to get your WhatsApp restricted. If you're going to do cold calling, it's really poor branding, poor positioning. So why are we getting the phone numbers? Because we will reach out to them via LinkedIn. Okay, we have all their LinkedIn profiles, as you can see here. After that, while we're doing that, we will talk to them via WhatsApp and tell them we connected with them via LinkedIn. So if you go and check, there's a big problem that this will burn your budget. You need to be careful. What is the data provider that you should work with? So for me, I'm a big fan of Visa. Visa is one of the best. After this, Prospeo, it works very well in Southeast Asia. Frojar, Lead Magic is really, really bad in Southeast Asia. It works just very well on emails. If you're looking for enriching emails, that would be brilliant. The rest is incredibly expensive. 25, by the way, 25 credits is equivalent to $12 per phone number. So it's like this, one credit is equivalent to 50 cents. So think like 7 credits is equivalent to $3. That's exactly how we should count. So it's not cheap. So if we have about 38 people, probably I would ending up spending about $200, $300 just to get their mobile numbers. So this is basically how you do email enrichment. And if you want to really do email enrichment, I think that's fine. But honestly speaking, I'm not a big fan of it for Southeast Asia, unless your industry explicitly shows that. Okay, now let's look at the final list of how did we help. So this is a whole workflow. Again, every single data will be blurred, but this gives you a little bit of context of what is the final outcome. So you can see all the phone numbers are here, the LinkedIn profiles. We also did something very interesting. We wanted to see which one is a decision maker and which one is a champion, because they will get different messaging flow. When you want to reach out to a general manager, it should be completely different than reaching out to a digital marketing specialist. Different messaging flow. So learn to always segment and be careful about this. So this is what we call segmenting. You can also use this in your AI enrichment. You can exactly do the same prompts. So all these prompts, you can find it in the template folder. If it's not there, just comment below in this video, and I'm happy to share this templates with you guys. Now, one last step is, okay, I got my mobile phones, I got what is going to be the messaging like. So this is when you need to always go back to your Gemini, and this is all about your copywriting skills as well. What is the strategy? What do you want to share? So to give you a little bit of context, we came up with few angles that was based on a research made. So if I shared with you here, so let's say you have no experience in the pharmaceutical industry, you need to put yourself in the shoes of the owner. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the GM. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the digital marketing specialist. So what you would need to do, this is exact steps of what you should do. You should always launch your deep research. So you can see it here. This is what we call deep research Gemini, and it will automatically create a very heavy research on all the pain points. What is a strategy from GTM marketing perspective, a GTM manager? What is their pain points? What goes on their heads and all of this? So this is what it gathers for you from almost, if you go into in depth, you will be mind blown that this information is gathered from about 300 plus different resources. So as you can see over here. So why is this important for you? Because you're not an expert in the topic. You don't have time for that. So you need to gather it. And this is when you need to create a template of get for me 5 different angles. And then after that, you can create for yourself something what we call custom Gemini. So custom Gemini messaging flow looks like that exactly. So this is our client custom Gemini flow. So what do we usually do is we need to make sure that the Gemini really understands the product, the brand, all the research that you got. You need to put it in the knowledge base, which is over here. So you can see it here. This is what we call the custom Gemini. And this is how it looks like. You have to create a very sophisticated prompt. This prompt will create tailored messages based on angles you have identified during your deep research. You can see there was angle 1, which was obviously the partner that we work on, or the client we're working with, they are helping with GCC, Saudi FDA. They're also doing B2B network builder by bypassing lazy distributors. They are doing D2C, skipping the big 3, Watson, Guardian fees, platform. So those angles are based on fear, based on what is the enemy. What is the enemy their client would be facing when they are launching a new product on the market. And this is exactly how we train the AI to get the grip of the data. We uploaded the data here in the knowledge base as well, and from the deep research. And then we ended up creating powerful messaging flow that got engaging responses and got immediate meetings. So how do you do that? So you would definitely need to, when you launch a Gemini, which is over here, number 1 is you will need to, let's say we put the data of a prospect. Let's say one of the prospects we have. I'm just going to show it to you in a very manual fashion how it looks like. So as you can see here, now we have a very clean look on what we want to do. So first of all, I would want to open the LinkedIn account of that person. Okay, as you can see, this is his LinkedIn account, whatever the person is. And what usually happens is you would need to feed the data to your custom Gemini. So I'm going to do it manually first, just to make sure that we are doing things correctly. High chance this prospect is actually a champion. He's not really a decision maker, but also we don't know really about the structure of the company. So we already have an understanding that he will be most likely relevant to reach out to for our proposal. So what we will be doing is we will need to take a screenshot and feed it to our custom Gemini. So the manual way is to take this screenshot, put it on your custom Gemini, and usually every single lead takes exactly about 5 to 10 minutes to really iterate and take all the screenshot that is necessary, because the screenshot is basically a learning for your custom Gemini to learn on how to have context on what to say and what not to say, which angle makes sense, which angle doesn't make sense. And you will also need to add the product's data and the product information. And that's I think it's very, very critically important. Same goes here. For example, he's mentioning here about his 100 million brands. So we will also need to add that as well. All right, so the next step is basically to write this prompt, which is you're an expert sales development rep, analyze the provided lead, deep analysis, step 1. So this is usually the prompt that I use. So again, this is what we call prompt layering, or you already have custom instructions on your actual outreach DM. However, you will layer it with a very specific instructions just to make sure there is no hallucination. And you will give it a go. I will go with thinking. Usually what happens is if this Gemini was trained correctly, it will create a chat flow. Now, again, this is for you guys to understand. We usually do this at scale automatically in Expand East. However, I actually reserve this for our close circle to have access to it. So, but you can see this is already good enough. You can see, like, first of all, it gets you a deep analysis and all of that. And then you can see, hi, James, I've been following the recent data on blah, blah, blah. Approval trends, and then I saw you recently spearheaded the Cetaphia launch in Q3 2025. As you can see, we gathered this data ML approval. Given your background at Dika and now leading the blah, blah, blah at AstraZeneca, congrats on hitting those launch milestones in a very noisy market. The biggest 2026 trap for brands in diabetes space is the digital ad blockade. Even with ML registration, Meta and Google algorithms are now instantly flagging chronic condition. So as you can see, it's fully tailored. This is for WhatsApp, but obviously you can use it for LinkedIn as well. But they do give you a LinkedIn version. It was trained to give that LinkedIn version as well. But at the end of the day, what matters for you is you can use that kind of tailored outcome and it will get you meetings, because you are so specific, so detailed, so relevant. You trigger your context. It's so much heavily detailed that nobody will mistaken you as a spam or as a scam or whatever it is. So that's the point of having highly tailored message. You reach the stage of how to create sophisticated messages. Now, I understand this is all manual. You can still do a semi-automation using Get Sales Workflow, which I have shared with you earlier. So Get Sales Workflow, which is a LinkedIn automation workflow. This is how the workflow looks like. Of course, you need to put your sender profiles. After you put your sender profiles, you need to have a specific flow, which is visiting profile first, liking a recent post. You want to add a very tailored comment using custom AI. You can do that, but I'm not a big fan of it because it's still not giving natural comments. You would send a connection request after sending a connection request. So these are all like real-time campaign, as you can see here. We just launched this new campaign for this specific client only yesterday because they loved the outcome that we had in our previous campaign. So now we still got the data from NPRA. We're still using the same signals, same triggers. You guys can use it. They give us full permission to publish that for you guys. So we concluded. If you're still watching, this means you're really serious about your go-to-market strategies in Malaysia. Every single tactic I have shared here, this is the exact steps we did for our client that led to accidentally securing 626 meetings. Apparently, it was always about the source. It's always about what data did you get, how much enrichment did you do, and so on. And this is exactly why it matters for you when you're doing go-to-market strategies in Malaysia. Every single enrichment is expensive, but it's worth it if you are reaching the right companies, the right decision makers with the right messaging. If you focus on that and you're really serious about automating that, because I know for a fact that I gave you here only the manual steps. If you're really serious about it and you want to join our closed circle community, showing all the workflows, all the automations that accelerates that 10 times the manual flow, I'm happy to invite you in. Just comment below and we will share with you the information later on. Thank you for watching. At this point, we finished module 2, which was all about the practical steps. There is one module left, and this is more on giving you much deeper information on the messaging strategies, the psychological tactics, the market tactics, and so on. Thanks, Roger.